hang on, this is absolutely disgraceful. Let's begin. Now, of course, I don't know if it's just me, but ever since Keir Starmer's come in, things have just gone from bad to worse, aren't they? I mean, not only is the guy about as popular as a fart in a lift, but also his quite worrying George Orwell 1984 policies that he seemed to want to roll out are just getting worse and worse and worse, and now something has just bit Labour in the bum, which they themselves have been warning about for years. And I say that because according to this article, it says that Keir Starmer's winter fuel payment cuts could kill 4,000 people, according to Labour's own research. I mean, it's just absolutely mental, isn't it? I mean, remember, Keir Starmer, this is the guy who wanted longer, stronger and harsher lockdowns during COVID because of a code. Of course, now that he's in charge, he seems perfectly okay to basically go ahead with something that his party warned would kill 4,000 people. I mean, who does he think he is? And yes, obviously there will be people, including Keir Starmer himself, who will say it's because of this £22 billion black hole, which may or may not be mythical, that they've got to try to do their very best to get rid of. However, unfortunately, for those 4,000 people whose lives now may be on the line, it seems Keir Starmer would rather that be the case than, I don't know, postpone or get rid of entirely the junior doctors' settlement payments to avoid them from striking. But the quite worrying thing is, it might actually be a lot more than the 4,000 it says here, and I say that because this research that Labour, remember, have done themselves isn't recent. It is when Labour published analysis during its 2017 election campaign, when Sir Keir was in the shadow cabinet, warning that such a move could be the death of so many, and it warned at the time that Tory plans to cut the allowance for 10 million elderly people would see a rise of an excess of 3,850 that winter, reports the Mail Online. But get this, the report called Theresa May's later abandoned proposal the single biggest attack on pensioners in a generation. And of course, I don't know if it's just me, but it makes me wonder if Keir Starmer found that plan, dusted it off, and presumably is going to be doing the exact same thing. Even when, of course, the Tories then changed their minds about it after surely realising just how bad it was. A Labour MP told the Mail, this is blatant hypocrisy. All those now reversing Gordon Brown's winter fuel allowance were Labour MPs when we fought against Theresa May's government plans to scrap it in 2017. Times change, but the basic ethos and political principles of the largest parties should not be quite as interchangeable, and that is a very good point, isn't it? And just think, that was back in 2017. 7 years ago, so just think how many more people that would be from then. I'm guessing probably 4,500, maybe even 5. Because of, let's face it, people getting older during that time and therefore be entitled to claim that benefit when obviously they weren't back in 2017. But there could actually be another reason why Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves probably aren't exactly too keen on scrapping this entirely, even though it could potentially mean that thousands of people could, I guess, die. And that is because another article I found which says why Starmer and Reeves cannot back down on the pensioner squeeze. So why is it then? I mean, apart from the £22 billion hole, what could possibly justify this in their eyes? Well, I'll give you a clue. It's actually not the £22 billion hole. And the article says if Starmer and Reeves are bullied into a U-turn by MPs, the Tory press and trade union leaders, despite their enormous Commons majority, there would be a question about their ability to do what Starmer calls tough, unpopular things. So early in its term, that would be a problem. And I don't know about you, but I personally think that bit has hit the nail right on the head, because let's face it, if Keir Starmer's MPs rebel against him so early on in his 5 years of, let's face it, him more than likely effing up the country more and more as time goes on, presumably voting again against him in future votes, then let's face it, if he's seen to have no authority over his party, then what chance does he actually stand in staying on as the Prime Minister or leader of the party even for the full 5 years? And the same could actually be said for Rachel Reeves herself. So even though he came out saying, this is a government of service and we'll put the country first, it does actually appear that he's actually putting his own career first and that of Rachel Reeves as well, especially if they don't back down. Now, of course, the vote is at 2 o'clock today, but this video will be going out before then, so I'm going to put my Mystic Meg fortune-telling hat on and predict that, unfortunately, even though every other party out there, including Reform and the Conservatives, and basically any MP with more than one brain cell, is going to vote against Keir Starmer basically cancelling the fuel allowance for so many people. Even though that is the case, I'm betting Keir Starmer will be basically making sure that his MPs will be voting for this, and therefore surely means that he is putting his own career ahead of those pensioners. And while some people will say that, well, it should be means tested, why should millionaire pensioners get the winter fuel allowance? If that is the case, then it shouldn't be means tested at £11,000. Surely it should be means tested at something like 25, 30, maybe even £40,000. Because let's face it, even though Labour did apparently say that, from what I remember, that they've got a fully costed plan to reduce our energy bills, they are unfortunately going up, aren't they, on October the 1st. So, didn't exactly work out too well for you, did it, Keir, eh?